You ever just stop and wonder what consciousness actually is? I mean, not in some big philosophical way, but what is this constant internal experience you're having right this second? It's kind of the most familiar thing in the world to us, and yet it's probably the biggest mystery in the universe. So let's dive in. There's this fascinating new theory that suggests it's all about a beautifully precise balancing act happening inside your head every single moment.
You know, way back over a century ago, the psychologist William James came up with this incredible metaphor for our stream of consciousness. He said it was like a bird. Sometimes it's perched, totally focused on one thought, and then suddenly it takes flight to a completely new topic. It's just a perfect way to describe that flowing, always moving quality of our own minds, right?
So, what's making that bird fly? What's the engine behind this seamless, flowing river of awareness that we all live in? That's the big question. And the answer, according to this really compelling new model of the brain, is not at all what you might think. It's not some consciousness part of the brain that just switches on. No, it's about a fundamental tension, a constant push and pull, right at the heart of how our brains work.
Okay, so to really get consciousness, we have to imagine our brain as a stage for this constant tug of war between two really powerful opposing forces. You can almost think of them like two characters playing on a team. You've got the predictor and you've got the corrector. And believe it or not, your entire conscious experience is basically the result of their delicate little dance. And here's where it gets super personal, because these two systems, they are directly tied to our feelings. So on one side, you have the predictor. Its whole job is to generate possibilities, to constantly ask, what if? It's an excitatory system. It's all about pushing forward. And the feeling that goes with it is elation. You know, that buzz of creative forward momentum. Then, on the other side, you've got the corrector. Its job is to check all those predictions against what's actually happening, against sensory reality. It's asking, okay, but what is? This system is inhibitory. It's the brakes. And the feeling it's tied to? Anxiety. That cautious, hyper-aware sensitivity to facts and errors.
This whole back and forth between the predictor and a corrector is the engine behind a process called active inference. Now, this theory says your brain isn't just a passive sponge soaking up information from the world. No way. It's an active, you might even say hyperactive, prediction machine. It's constantly building a model of the world, guessing what's going to happen next, and then using the corrector to update that model based on what actually happens. It's this non-stop cycle of guess, check, update, repeat.
So, if our entire experience is basically a battle between elation and anxiety, between predicting and correcting, how in the world does that create the clear, focused awareness we call consciousness? Well, the key, the absolute secret, is balance. Let's take a look at what happens when that balance gets totally thrown off. So, what happens when the predictor system just runs wild, completely unchecked? You get something that looks a lot like mania. It's this flight of ideas where creativity and possibility just become totally untethered from reality. It's like you're all gas pedal, no brakes. The what-if engine is screaming, but it has completely lost touch with the real world.
And on the flip side, what happens when the corrector takes over? Well, you get a state of anxious paralysis. You get stuck, just ruminating on every single tiny error, every little detail. It's all brakes, no gas. The what-is system is so overpowering that it just shuts down any creative, forward-moving thought or exploration.
And this brings us to the most important part. Consciousness isn't one of these extremes. It's not the predictor, and it's not the corrector. Consciousness is that perfectly tuned, dynamic balance between them. It's living on that razor's edge, where your brain's creative predictions are held in perfect, beautiful tension with the hard facts of reality. That's the sweet spot. Now, this state actually has a cool scientific name. It's called criticality. It's a concept borrowed from physics, actually, and it describes a system that's poised right at the tipping point between perfect order and total chaos. And in this critical state, the brain isn't rigid, but it isn't random either. It's at its most flexible, its most powerful, and its most complex. It's the perfect state for consciousness to emerge. Okay, so maintaining this state of criticality, that sounds incredibly hard, right? How does the brain pull off this high-wire act, day in and day out, without falling into either chaos or paralysis? Well, the answer lies in something we all do every single night, sleeping. I want you to reframe how you think about sleep. What if it's not just a passive shutdown? What if it's actually an active, essential maintenance routine? A nightly tune-up that is specifically designed to recalibrate the predictor and the corrector systems so they can hit that critical balance the next day. This nightly tune-up happens in two really important steps. First up, during non-REM sleep, it's the corrector shift.
The inhibitory system gets to work, quietly replaying all the surprising moments from the day, all the prediction errors, and uses them to fine-tune your internal model of the world. But then we get to REM sleep, and the predictor is let loose. This is its playground. The excitatory system goes wild, creatively mashing up memories and ideas to build better, more sophisticated predictions for tomorrow. It's a perfect cycle every night. First, you correct the model, then you upgrade it.
So, a brain that's balancing itself between two forces, tuned every night by sleep. That's a pretty amazing model. But what does it actually mean for you, right here, right now? Well, this is where it gets really practical, because this entire system is regulated by something we all feel constantly, our emotions.
Get this, our feelings are not just random noise. They are the high-level control knobs for our entire conscious experience. When you feel that sense of elation or optimism, that's literally the predictor system being turned up. It's your brain telling you, hey, trust your gut, push forward, explore. And when you feel anxiety, that's the corrector system getting dialed up. It's your brain saying, whoa, slow down, be cautious, pay attention to the details. We need to check for errors here. Your emotions are the readouts of this incredible balancing act. So what's the big takeaway from all this? First, your feelings are functional. They are the actual control signals that steer your awareness. Second, this gives us a totally new way to think about mental well-being, not as some static goal, but as the ability to maintain this dynamic balance. Third, sleep is not wasted time. It's the critical, active process that prepares your brain for consciousness. And maybe the biggest idea of all, consciousness isn't something your brain just has, like its color or its weight. It's a delicate, active process that you achieve, like a tightrope walk you perform, from one moment to the very next.
And that leaves us with one last, kind of mind-bending question. If consciousness really is this state of perfect balance, this delicate edge between order and chaos, prediction and reality, then what are we capable of building there? What incredible new ideas, insights, and experiences are just waiting for us, right on that critical edge?